So, it has been a very busy little week in here, and I am so excited to finally be able to draw up this panel. So that is what I am going to be doing all day today. And I went back in, picked up all my swatches yesterday from the gallery and got the feedback, and they're very, very happy with all the colours and all that, which is great. Because what that essentially means for me now is that I have this perfect roadmap of colour combinations that are pre-planned out. So I'm going to leave those there as a reference for when I do actually start building up the surface. But I'm going to clear gesso this panel, then I am going to draw it up, and I just get to get started on this gigantic painting. I'm so excited. And for the rest of the week, I'll show you what I've been doing the rest of the week. So these don't look like much at all at the moment, but these are going to be little test artworks for an idea that I had. I had a dream earlier this week, and it was like a complete download of my next solo show. When that is, where that is, I don't even know yet. But I literally woke up and I had to get quickly into my journal, had to sketch it all out, and it was like, it was so clear to me what this next show is going to be about. And generally, I feel really restricted with smaller work. However, funnily enough, in this show, it was a lot of smaller work. Yes, there was some big work as well. And there's even going to be some work on not square or rectangular, but really organically shaped panels. Anyway, I guess we'll just see how this pans out. But what I've been really, really focused on at the moment are the intricate details of nature and how it's in the really subtle, zoomed in, like, even with my rocks, this is going to be part of it as well, which is why they're all sitting here. But even with these beautiful rocks, you know, if I look at them, there's like a tiny world, a beautiful abstract painting in each and every one of them. And so I'm really, for this next show that I'm just going to slowly start testing things for, I'm going to be really focusing on those intimate details of things. And I'm going to reveal more about all of those ideas I've had. And I mean, like, this show, literally complete download with title and all. So I'm still chewing on some of the ideas, but I couldn't help myself. I got in here the other day and I had a pile of these, I think they're 40 by 40 panels, and they've been sitting there for so long. And I thought, I just have to get something out of this idea into action, just so I can at least test some things. So that's what these are going to be. So this is literally like the first coat of paint. So essentially what I do is I sculpt that initial stage, and then I keep sculpting them all the way up. And I colour block them kind of from the bones up, and then the colour blocks kind of shift and change. And anyway, it's my version of maths. But I'm really excited to see where these go. So whilst I'm also working on the commission, I just know in myself that I always need something else to move to, because if I don't, that's when I tend to get quite rigid with my approach and everything gets tighter. And so amongst these, I also have a whole bunch of sketches which were original sketches that could have been for this big panel. And anyway, the clients have selected from those drawings and have picked their one. And so I still have this full collection of like future artworks in those drawings. So I'm going to start actually bringing some of those to life as well. Anyway, it's been a week of big light bulb moments and ideas, and just feeling really, really grateful to be able to show up every day doing what I love, despite it being really difficult at times and stressful at times. I still every day go home knowing that I'm doing exactly what I want to be doing, and I think that that's something that not a lot of people can say. And earlier this week too, I also did this little impromptu video while I was sitting in the car. And I might end up adding it into this because it just got so much response, and it was just one of those things that I was just sitting literally waiting to go pick my daughter up in the car. And it was one of those things that I just pressed record, let some words fall out of my mouth. And I posted it, not thinking much of it. And anyway, it resonated obviously with so many people. I got so many messages. I even got messages from galleries saying, thank you so much, we're going to send this out to our artists. We want to share this. So I'm like, oh, okay, no problem. But I will. I'll put it in here. I'll put it in the video. But yeah, I'm going to switch off now. I need to not be distracted when I start this big panel. So that's going to be my focus for the rest of the day. And I don't know whether I'm going to show it to you or not. I guess you'll have to wait and see. But I'll show dribs and drabs of the commission process. But for the most part, it's going to be kept a big exciting secret from you guys up until the client gets to see. So, and in the meantime, I'm going to work on these babies and start a whole bunch more work because I just can't help myself. Have a great weekend, guys. I don't know what people need to hear this today, but here I go again, letting some words fall out of my mouth, as I do. I was painting away in the studio this morning, painting and thinking. And I thought, I've had so many conversations this past month with various artists, all of us at different stages of career. Some of us winning multiple prizes, some of us without gallery representation, some of us getting coaching, some of us with no studio, some of us with a big studio, like just creatives. And there is this undercurrent to every single conversation I have had this month, and that is this yearning, this absolute yearning that we just want our work to be seen, to be appreciated for something that is so much greater than just this image on a wall. And I was thinking today while I was painting about that yearning and about how we are quite literally painting our future selves. And I think that's the advice that I gave one of these beautiful artist friends of mine. I told her to go into her back room and I said, all those paintings that you have sitting there, I said, what if painting over them and starting fresh was declaring to the universe that this was you moving forward with your career, that all of those works that have been sitting there for 10, 20 years that you may love, they may also be holding you back from the future version of yourself as a creative. And I have been chewing on that conversation ever since I had it with her. And I've been thinking to myself, what have I declared for myself? What is the future version of myself that I am painting at the moment? And I remember back in 2012, when I finished National Art School,
I literally walked out those doors and I declared out loud that there was never ever going to be a day that I did not paint again. Because I got scared out of the painting department. I was like fresh out of high school, so hungry to learn. I was the first one there, the last one to leave, and I got scared. And so I went and did photography and I regretted every second of it. So I declared I was never not going to paint again. And then I arrived home and I declared to my parents at the time that I needed that room because I needed a studio, and I set it up and I painted. And soon after that, I got together my first little collection of work that I look back on now and I cringe. But then I declared that I wanted a show, and I had one. I had my first ever solo exhibition at Hunters Hill Art Gallery and sold some paintings. And yes, most of them were to family. But at that point, I declared I was going to be a real life artist. I was going to give it a red hot shot. And soon after that, I walked upstairs to my family's paint shop and I stood in front of my uncle and I put 2 hands on his desk and I declared that the upstairs storage area was a space that I could create in. It's much better for me. I could make use of that space. And I need a studio, a much bigger studio, because I want to be making really big work. This is what I declared to my uncle. And he said, okay, well, you can have that space providing you clean it up and you set it up correctly and you pay some rent. So then I got my first official studio space. And at that point, I stood in that studio space after it was fully set up. I still remember priming those first panels. And I stood there and I declared, I am going to have a gallery. Soon after that, I submitted works to the first ever gallery that picked me up, and I still love them to this day. They took on this first collection of work, which was at a really difficult time of my life where I had left one identity as a gymnastics coach and a previous gymnast, and many of you know that whole career of mine, which was a lifetime ago now. But I left that identity behind when I had my daughter. And I had some really, really tough times in those early stages with my daughter, suffering postpartum depression and the whole bit. And it was a hard time, and yet my art carried me. Like, I get emotional thinking about it. My art carried me through that entire thing. And I'm so grateful every day that I had my art, because I don't know whether I would have survived without it. And that first lot of work that I completed in that new studio space of mine with this tiny little baby, it ended up getting into a prize as well. And so I think about all these little moments that I have declared, like, out loud. And then I declared that I needed a bigger studio, and then now I'm obviously in this much bigger space. And then I was standing upstairs with my husband one day and I said, there's a problem with this wall. And he's like looking, like thinking he hasn't attached it correctly. And I said, there is not a panel on this wall big enough. I said, I'm done painting smaller work. I want to paint work for clients who want wall-size freaking paintings that are the size of this wall. I declared it. 1 month later. 1 month later. There is now this gigantic panel on my wall. And I'm about to start the biggest commission of my career. And I think there were so many of those moments, like declaring that I wanted a Sydney commercial gallery. There's been so many of these moments. And I think we just have to keep declaring what we want and showing up every day. And we waste so much time as creatives questioning what we do, whether people are looking at it, whether it's important enough. And it's like, I think about the undercurrent that pulls me into the studio every single day. And it is like oxygen, and it is like every day when you show up, you think, how grateful am I that I have this thing that saved me, that I now have this privilege of putting out in the world for other people. And I think that's this yearning. I think that's this part of us that is this yearning for other people to see the bigger part of what art is. Because I often think every day about how I feel like I just don't fit in to the way normal society works. Like, I was trying to explain to my mum the other night. I was sitting around the dinner table and they were all over for dinner, and I was trying to explain to her how much mental space I need to do absolutely nothing. Like, to just be able to be there and witness the ideas, like, kind of come in and filter, and then I jot them down. It's like we have to chew on inspiration for however long it takes. And the way the world works is everything has a deadline. Everything has an A, B, C, D. It's all very black or white, and art is just all grey. And we get exhausted as creatives trying to get everyone else around us who is not an artist to just sync up with you, to just understand that you're just not operating at the same frequency, whatever. And sometimes you try and explain and you're like, I get it. You just don't know what you don't know. So, in the end, what we got to do, we got to just get back into the studio. We got to just paint the work. We got to keep showing up. We got to stop whinging about what the problems of the art market are, which, granted, I've done a little bit of that this week too. I really have. But, yeah, I don't know who needed to hear this today. But that was my realization while I was painting this morning. I was standing there thinking, holy shit, I declared this. I've quite literally painted my future self. What will this next version be? What am I going to declare next? So that's what I'm excited about. That's my energy for today. I'm excited about painting my next future self. Maybe it will start with this commission. I don't know. Anyway, if this resonates, let me know.